Raw after WrestleMania was insane. We just got finished watching the episode, and boy, is there a lot to talk about, and a lot better stuff that happened on Mania that has us looking super exciting going down the line.
Yeah, it was a very good episode. We got some good matches in here. We got some amazing storytelling in here. We got some amazing segments in here. There's a little bit of everything. Anything that you wanted, this gave us that. We had returns, we had debuts, we had just turns in general. We just had a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, this was a crazy one.
Yeah, and we're going to kick off at the top of the night where you start with John Cena coming out, and he cuts a heel promo basically saying, hey, I told you exactly what I was going to do, and my plan is still going as planned. I am here to ruin professional wrestling. And then he brings up the 32 dates that for 2025. Now he says that time moves very fast, and now we're down to 27 dates left. And not matches, appearances. That can mean anything, obviously. It can be matches. And then at the end of his promo, he says, ladies and gentlemen, get your cameras out, and you're going to want to see this. He says, I will ruin professional wrestling when I leave. And as he is talking, a slippery snake comes behind him and hits him with the RKO. Randy Orton attacks John Cena, and it seems like we're getting John Cena versus Randy Orton at Backlash in 2025.
Yeah, it was very, very cool segment here. It was also kind of, I guess, noteworthy to mention that Cena said, I'm not gonna wrestle. He basically said he's not gonna wrestle. He said, everyone says you don't have to wrestle. Well, the funny thing is I don't have to wrestle. I just have to do this, and I'm gonna walk out as the champion, whether you like it or not. And obviously we get the Randy Orton thing. But yeah, that's amazing. I love the segment. There's a lot of history between the two, of course. Two of, in the WWE's eyes, the best of all time. And yeah, just a crazy good segment here.
Yeah, this was just really good. I'm glad that Randy Orton, I assumed that things with him and Kevin Owens would have probably went after WrestleMania, but unfortunately due to injuries and unfortunate circumstances, now we get Randy Orton and John Cena, which is still just as interesting in my opinion, and it's something that we wanted to see from Cena this year. We wanted to see the Orton match. This is a beautiful way to do it. Backlash this year is in St. Louis, so that's going to be obviously a huge moment for Randy Orton. I'm sure the crowd's going to be insane, but yeah, just a great way to set up your next feud for John Cena, and hopefully this still means that we will see him a little bit more, because there's not too many more dates left. There's not that many weeks left in the year already, so we're pretty much going to see him almost weekly at some point, so that should be... Now, following that, we had Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria have a rematch with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, and this time, Liv and Raquel win back their tag team champions in a very shocking title change.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it was very shocking. They obviously just won it at WrestleMania, so for them to immediately take it back is just kind of crazy. However, it makes sense a little bit after, because they're kind of disappointed in that loss, Lyra and Becky. Becky's kind of embracing her a little bit, when all of a sudden she just takes her out, hits her with a clothesline, stomps her away for a little bit, walks out, comes back in, stomps her away again, gives her a manhandle slam. Crowd chants for one more. She gives her one more as she leaves the ring.
Yeah, this was definitely kind of expected, I think, and at least that we knew eventually once they lost these tag team belts, it would probably result in a heel change or a heel turn on one of their behalves. But we got the Becky heel turn. I think this is good. I think right now, at least the online reception to Becky is that, that she isn't very popular right now, so I think it is kind of good to turn her heel, give people even more reason now in kayfabe to also boo her. But yeah, I think this is a good way. The heel turn itself, I think, could have been a little bit better. I wish Becky may have been a bit more intense. I wish Lyra maybe played a little bit more scared than what she did. But yeah, pretty good segment overall, and glad that Liv and Raquel can kind of live on their tag team reign, but I almost wish we got this at Mania instead, in a way.
Yeah, and it leaves a couple of questions for future things as well, as far as the Bayley attack. Is it supposed to be Becky that did it now? Or is it still Roxy that's kind of the presumed attacker? Is it someone else? So I guess we'll have to wait and see in the following weeks.
And then next up, the New Day come out to celebrate their tag team championship win. When out comes Alpha Academy and Maxine Dupree, and she cuts a great promo, one of her best promos to me in quite a while. She comes out with a lot of confidence, and it seemed like she knew what she wanted to say. She had it all laid out, and she delivered very perfectly. And she says that we beat you in a minute a few weeks ago. We deserve a tag team match. And yeah, New Day accept the match, but before the match gets started, the lights go out, and we get the return of Rusev. He is back in WWE after 5 long years, and and dominates, scares away New Day, and attacks both Akira Tozawa and Otis.
Yeah, I really like this. I'm not a huge fan of Rusev or anything. I'll be the first one to say it. However, I do like that he's coming out, potentially at least, as his AEW form, the Redeemer, or at least some version of that. Because it didn't seem like the happy, funny, type of guy. Seems like he's a heel. So yeah, I think this could be really good for him. Could maybe make me interested in him. I'm not, like I mentioned, I'm not a huge Rusev fan, so it's not something that got me very excited. However, the pop was really big. I love his Tron. That looked really cool. He looked like a badass. I mean, he's a monster. How can you not, look like a badass when you're like that? But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens going forward.
Yeah, Rusev returning, I think, opens up a lot of matches. He can play that big guy role in the mid-card scene. Maybe he can float a little bit into that world champion scene, but we'll see how that plays out for him. But glad to have Rusev back. Adds a good body for the Raw roster. But next up, we got a promo from the GOAT, Io Sky, after her big win at WrestleMania. She comes out and says, Bianca and Rhea, they doubted me. They put me to the side, but I came out on top. I am now one of the best women, if not the best women, on this roster. When out comes Stephanie Vaquer, she makes her first main roster appearance, I believe, and she tells Io that I'm here to give you your respect, but I would love to wrestle you tonight. And this is obviously a dream match for so many people. But then out comes bald-headed Adam Pearce, and he says, wait a second, we can't do this just yet. But he says, Las Vegas, do you want it? The crowd goes crazy, and then he says, matter of fact, I want it too. Let's get this match underway, and we get Stephanie Vaquer and Io Sky.
Yeah, this is a dream match. This is everything that, you want in a wrestling match. These are two of some of the best women wrestlers just in general, not in the WWE, not in NXT, just in general. So this is an amazing match to be able to get, especially just randomly on a TV show. Obviously, it is the WrestleMania, so it's special, but still, just to get this match at this moment was just crazy, unexpected, and I loved every minute of this match. And it was a very good match. However, we didn't get a finish or a winner to the match, and that is because Roxanne Perez comes out attacking Io Sky, leaving Stephanie in the ring a little bit speechless. She didn't really do anything to help Io Sky necessarily, but she's kind of asking like, why are you doing this? You have a match with me tomorrow. And then another person comes and attacks Stephanie. And who was that but Julia? Don't know why they're teaming together. They were feuding for a while. She took her title from her. So I don't understand this, but I'm very excited for it. I really like this potential tag team faction, whatever this may be. Also to mention, I guess Gigi and Tatum were in attendance for the tag team title match because they will also be facing Liv Morgan and them, so maybe that plays into whatever this faction is somehow or something. But yeah, very exciting. Love to see whatever is going to happen from this tomorrow.
Yeah, and then before Roxanne and Julia continue their attack on Stephanie and Io, Rhea Ripley comes out and kind of saves the day for the baby faces. She kind of scares off Roxanne, throws her out the ring, and we get a stare between Julia and Rhea Ripley. Another big match that we want to see here in WWE. And then Julia kind of walks out the ring, and she kind of looks at Io. She takes the belt, and then she eventually says that I'm still after this. So yeah. Very interesting things. We got almost, 5 or 6 of the best women on the entire roster, all in one ring in one segment, which was amazing to see. Everybody had a cool moment in this match. And yeah, super excited to see what this women's roster brings to us for the rest of the year.
Something that may be worthwhile to mention here is this the start to a build to Evolution? That's something that just kind of popped in my mind just as we were kind of speaking. But all these women from the different brands cross connecting with each other tomorrow on NXT, you could almost assume the same thing's gonna happen. We have Triple A doing their thing with WWE. We have TNA doing their thing with WWE. So is there a world where this is actually the start to the Evolution pay-per-view?
Yeah, I think that would actually be a great way to do it, because after obviously SmackDown, I'm sure we'll start getting what's next for Tiffany, what's next for Chelsea. So yeah, I think that's gonna be a great way to start kicking things off. But speaking on the topic of, I guess, pay-per-views being announced, we got the announcement for Survivor Series. Not technically is announced as War Games, but Survivor Series will be in San Diego this year. I think later in the year, probably in November, same time as always. But yeah, that's a pretty big announcement as well. But yeah, Evolution, if that is the start to this build, I think that's a perfect way to kick things off. But next up, we had a Jey Uso promo, and he comes out, thanks the crowd, kind of gives, his big speech after the big win, obviously. And yeah, we also get the return of Sami Zayn. He comes out and celebrates. We also get Jimmy, who comes out and celebrates. A pretty awkward segment because you kind of thought something was going to happen, but in the end, it was just a full-on celebration with three best friends and basically three brothers as well, I guess, all celebrating, one brother's big win.
Yeah, I felt at moments that something was gonna happen. However, it was just the Usos kicking it together, and it was a very good way to celebrate. It wasn't something that felt like it was taking too much time. It was heartfelt and it was emotional and all that good stuff. And yeah, it was a really good segment. I enjoyed this little trio of them. It's always a good time seeing the Usos, all three of them, kick it together.
Yeah, and then during the promo, I guess it's worth to mention to kind of segue into the next segment. Pat McAfee and Michael Cole were also trolling Gunther, saying "you tapped out." There's big "you tapped out" chants from the entire crowd, and Michael Cole decided to chirp in, give his 2 cents. And after commercial break, we get Gunther confronting both Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, saying, "You want to mock me for tapping out? Do you want to know what it's like to get tapped out?" And then he pushes Michael Cole, and then Pat McAfee tries to be big dog and tries to bully Gunther. Gunther isn't having it, and he chokes out Pat McAfee, damn near putting it to sleep. It looked like he actually had it locked in pretty hard at one time. Pat McAfee's face was all getting all red and stuff. So a pretty good heat segment for Gunther, but I think for a lot of people are probably happy because it might mean Pat McAfee might be taking a break for a little while. But yeah, a great segment to keep Gunther around on TV.
Yeah, we seen that segment after as well where Adam Pearce is kind of walking Pat McAfee to the back, and Michael Cole, he has to be the big soldier. Like, I'm not gonna let this bully me out of my job, and then he returns to the desk after because he did get a headlock for a little while as well. And Joe Tessitore is the one that comes in and takes his place for the rest of the night to mention. But yeah, going and after this, we're going into our main event.
Yeah, we had Dom and Penta fighting for the Intercontinental Champion. Obviously, Penta losing in that Fatal 4-Way gets his match here tonight. And in a pretty fun match, we do get Finn Balor at ringside. And earlier in the night, we had a vignette where they're in the Judgment Day Funhouse, I guess you want to call it. They're all talking. Finn says what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but still looks at that Intercontinental Champion very close. So he still has his eyes on it. But yeah, this is a pretty fun match for what it is. And then in the end, we see JD McDonough make his return pretty quick and help Dom get the big win here over Penta. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Finn still looks pretty mad that Dom is a champion, so I guess we're still going to get that storyline eventually, but not here tonight.
Yeah, it was a really good match, honestly. Nothing too special to write home about, but it did what it needed to do. You wanted to keep Penta strong. You didn't want him to lose clean. But at least me, I want to see Dom get the win here. I don't want to see him lose in one day. I enjoyed the big Dom win. And I think after the response that he did get at WrestleMania, I think there's no way he deserves to lose a title in one night like that. So I was very happy to see that Dom did win. Very happy to see JD come back. He got a really big pop when he did come back and push Penta off the ropes to help Dom. There seems to be something going on with the Judgment Day, of course, because Finn doesn't seem to like what's going on with Dom getting the win. JD and everyone else doesn't have a problem with it at all. So it's going to be very interesting to see going forward how Finn Balor does get out of the Judgment Day. Is he going to turn face? Is they're going to just kind of stomp him out and they'll just be heel versus heel for a while? Very interested to see though.
Yeah, and then after all puts up a 60-point triple-double, they had to add on to that, and we get the last segment of the night, and that is Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins coming out to officially kind of form their alliance of whatever this faction ends up being called. But yeah, really cool segment. But out comes CM Punk. We knew he was there, and he only wants to fight Seth Rollins. He has the tape wrapped around his hand while he's going down, and him and Seth have a little scrap for a little while. Eventually, he actually beats Seth down for a little while, gets his hands on Paul Heyman, but Seth comes from behind, scrapes the eyes, and he pretty much just dog walks him. But then, as Seth is kind of standing over him tall, the credits are about to go off, but Roman Reigns also shows up, and he comes out, and it's straight to action again. And Roman has the advantage, and is about to get his hands on Paul Heyman, but out comes the best spear in the business. Braun Breaker comes out, hits a big spear on Roman Reigns, and Braun Breaker is aligning himself with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. Braun Breaker hits a big spear through the barricade on Roman Reigns. And yeah, just a great segment to add to Braun Breaker's, already insane year on the main roster, being aligned with one of the biggest names as a wrestler and the best manager of all time.
Yeah, it shows how much stock WWE truly has in him. Immediately after losing the IC title, gets thrown into this, whatever this storyline is going to be with Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman, and Braun Breaker. I do expect potentially more people to come in and come aboard to this. But yeah, this is just groundbreaking here. It's amazing. I love to see this. I think Triple H books factions very well, and I expect nothing less to come from a Paul Heyman faction of all things. So this is very interesting. There's many people that could come on board with this and get me interested in that I'm not already interested in. But yeah, it's just so cool because we're going to see potentially in the near future Braun Breaker versus CM Punk, Braun Breaker versus Roman Reigns, as well as whatever Seth Rollins match in that circle as well. Like, what more can you ask for? Amazing heel turn, amazing work by Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins actually feels like very much a top guy right now, and Paul Heyman does say that at the show. I'm introducing you to the top guy of the WWE right now. He said that, and it might be true at some point during this year if they could continue this momentum.
Yeah, Backlash this year can be really insane. We got them pretty much, I'm going to say, confirmed in my eyes that Cena and Orton's going to be there. We might get Becky and Lyra one-on-one. We might get an Io Sky Rhea Ripley match to kind of finally finish that off. We might get a Gunther Pat McAfee match, what could be whatever. And then also probably a tag team match between Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Braun Breaker getting dropped in with the big dogs now, and I think is amazing. I think he still needs time to work on a few things. I think the promo is probably where he needs to step it up a little bit. Some of them are hit or miss sometimes, but overall he is the total package. He has all the tools in the shed to become a top dog, so making him mess with him very early on is, I think, a great way to keep up his momentum.
Yeah, when we introduced Braun Breaker to the main roster, they wanted him to be heel. However, it didn't really go over with the crowd. The crowd kind of made him a tweener, kind of. Mm-hmm. But now this officially makes him a heel, and I don't think he'll get those same interactions he got before. Those dogs won't be barking as loud as they were before, more than likely. But this will be a star-making thing for Braun Breaker. Obviously, he's already on the trajectory to be a star, but now even more so putting someone like Paul Heyman on his side.
Yeah, right after WrestleMania, pretty much destroyed WrestleMania as a whole. It might not be better as a whole event, but it definitely defeats night one. It might even defeat night two, for being honest. But yeah, this is a great way to keep things up and have a good build, hopefully, towards Backlash in a few weeks. But yeah, let us know your guys' favorite segments and your favorite moments of the night down in the comments below. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.